now I'm calling Mette. One is she will tell us something about using technology to gain insight and how to solve problems. I added N. But maybe you should still use technology to solve problems.
Thank you. Is it clear, the microphone? Yes. Thank you for having me. I'm Netta, I work with National Archives, and at this moment we work on a project called e-discovery for information management. And actually what we're trying to find out in this project, if we can use methods and techniques which are used by the field of e-discovery, can we use them also for information management? And actually we set up the project, so we're not doing the project as a big whole, but we set it up with different use cases and experiments. So one of the experiments we are actually running right now is finding out if you can use machine learning to auto-classify incoming or outgoing email to separate the noise from the business emails. Sounds familiar? I think so. So I actually knew that I only had 20 minutes, so I asked James for me to explain the problem with auto-classification and email, so I could talk about something else. So James, thank you very much. It was a very nice presentation you did for me. So, what am I going to talk about? So, I'm going to talk about technology, and it's changing fast, or sometimes we think it's changing fast, and it's not changing that fast at all. So actually I think that is not a bad thing, because I like my technical gadgets, but I think we should change the approach we have towards technology. Because I see, at least at the Dutch government, I see people using technology to make their processes more efficient and not really look at the process itself. Like, how can we change the process? Do we still have to do this, or maybe it's not necessary anymore? Do we need to change our organizational structure and sorts of that? So I think technology can help with that, but it's not like the main thing for automation. And what happens a lot is, I think everybody recognizes this. Somebody is going to a conference and hears something about a very nice new technology and comes back home in their organization and says, we have to do something with, I don't know, it can be blockchain, for example, or it can be machine learning, or it can be the Internet of Things, but it's like, it feels for me a little bit like this. So, this is a very good, great new sport. It's like, it's very nice to do, you get balanced, you see the world upside down, it's very good for your health, and all the rich and famous are doing it right now. But if I'm going to do it, it's more like this. So, what I actually want to say with this is that sometimes it seems quite easy, although there is a little bit of complexity because we have to balance on the water, but we think like it's easy and we can have that tomorrow in our organization. Well, actually, it doesn't work like that. And I want to go through some points which I ran into doing the experiment with the machine learning. So the first point I have to disappoint you is not about the technology. Because before I can start with the nerdy stuff, I have to do a process like something like this. And I can here mention a lot of subjects, but I will stay with the GDPR regulations because we choose email. So the first thing comes up with people is like, there is a lot of personal information in the email. So how are you going to do that? And in the beginning, we thought we're going to do the experiments with another government organization. So, and because they all recognize the problem, they all have emails and they all have them at their personal, with their personal colleagues. But then at one point we said, the legal issues, that's a bit like, it's a bit scary. And I cannot really say if they used it as an excuse, because it's also taking them time, or they're really scared, I don't know. So we thought, we were then at, no, what are we going to do? So then we thought like, well, we are a government organizations ourselves, and we have email. 1 + 1 is 2. So I'm not more any more than 2, but so we thought like, okay, let's do an experiment ourselves, make it a little bit smaller and simpler, but show the other government departments that we can run it in a legal framework right now. So that is what we did. I can explain to you what I did with the personal things and the data protection and stuff in the lunch break, because it's a big, long process, and at the end I had to sign a lot of like papers, and it felt like I had to sign more papers than I was buying my house, but at the end of the process we could use our own data. So no data sets from the internet, no fictional data, no, we could use our own email data from the National Archive to develop the prototype. So now we can do the nerdy stuff. But then I have to disappoint you again, because there are no magical solutions. And when you're going to do something with, for example, machine learning, you have a lot of friends, new friends, because companies were calling me every week to say, I have the most perfect tool, it will solve your problem. So I said, okay, what do you want me to do? Well, first you have to give me your data. I said, well, that's a problem, because the technique has to come to the data. Because I had like, first the whole difficult process of that I get to work on my own data, and then they want to have my data. I said, sorry, it has to come to us. And they said, no, we cannot do that. So then we thought, like, what should we do? So we make a big list of all software solution, open source spam filters, very big machine learning platforms and stuff. Made a big list, and we were looking which one can we use. So we actually made a make or buy decision. And then, because we were talking, we were like, we actually don't know what the algorithms are doing, how classifying is working, and that's also something we want to know as a national archive. So we decided to build a prototype ourselves. We're not developers, so I hired a developer. So what we wanted to do was, okay, you can make a prototype in a solid environment and then test it and say it works. But we actually also wanted to test it on the real email situation at the National Archive, because then you learn what is necessary to use technology in your real working process, because it can be very easy in a safe environment, but then it doesn't have to work in a real environment, and people have to work with it. So we decided to use a lab environment, and actually it's provided by us through the ICTU. It's an ICT foundation, works for the Dutch government. So they gave us a virtual lab environment where we could experiment. And we actually have our little house in the environment, so it's free for experiment. But we have, if at the end we have a working prototype, we're going to share it. Because we said, like, now we stop developing and we're going to share it with other people who have a little house in the virtual lab environment. And then, if we are satisfied with the prototype, we're going to test it in a real-life situation in a small group of users, and those users are going to train the system. And we decided to do that so people know how it is to train a machine and get, like, we hope, trust in it. So we also developing like views that they can see how the algorithm is making the decision on which words or stuff like that. And then came, of course, the big question, how long are you going to develop the prototype? Because you can develop a small one, you can develop a big one. So we said, okay, we will time box it. We take 3 months, and then we go to work on the prototype and maybe do some stuff in the real life environment already. And after those 3 months, it is what it is, and we're going to run it for a period of time. And by time boxing it, it is actually quite nice because you have to think about some things, and that I call here tuning, because you cannot do everything in 3 months. So we made 3 axes. So we had, it's 4, I'm going down. So we have like, on the upper side, we have the environment where we're developing the tool. So you see in the beginning, these circles are our sprints. We do sprints of 2 weeks. This Wednesday, we just finished sprint 3, and so we're now in sprint 4. And actually, because it's a small team, but it's good to have like a good conversation with each other, because we're all different people. So we're talking with this for what we're going to do next time. So in the beginning, it was the tool was only working on the laptop of the developer. And then it works very good, but if you see the users, there are no users can work with the tool. So if you want to have a user, you have to go to another environment. So that's how we play with it. And we decided with each other, if you see the functionalities, we decided with each other, okay, this is what we minimum want the prototype to do. So we know we have to work to there. And the other things we can play with. So if we said like, now we're building it in Python, the machine learning model, but if we want to say that we want to try another algorithm or another software tool, you can let it go down. But then it means that we maybe don't have a pretty screen for the users. So now we say that this is going to be probably where we're going to work on in the 5th sprint. So we are having all our functionalities that we want, and in the 6th we want to have 10 users who could work with the prototype, but they don't need to have fancy screens. So we're playing with that, but you can also imagine that if I'm going to do a very complex algorithm, I can maybe come up in 3 months, I won't get it off of the laptop. So that's very nice to make those decisions. And you can say, if I want more users, I have less function. And so we find it very handy to play like this with the functionalities. So I hope that, of course, if we have like sprint 6, I know we have a prototype that works, and I hope we can run it for a little while on our environment, and I hope I will share it with other people. And actually I want to conclude and get it a bit back to my title of the presentation, because I think it's very good to start with new technology, but keep it simple and don't think it's going to give you a direct solution. So don't make it a dating show. I have a tool and I'm looking for a problem. No, try to start simple, because the developer is already asking me questions I couldn't think about when I was starting. So that is very nice to have that conversation. I already know there are some restrictions in our environment where we have to run the prototype. And so if you want to do it seriously, you have to solve those restrictions. So actually, it's a lot of try and fail, and actually, it's not that bad to fail sometimes, because you learn stuff from that as well, and maybe you have a little success, and then you start over again. And actually, that's what I want to share with you. So thank you.